is not here. She has not been served with summons and process. We have an attorney appointed for her. Ms. Crane is here. The attorney for defects, Mr. Skowronek, is here. Ms. Schrock, the appointed attorney guardian ad litem for the minor children, is here. The father's niece, Taisha Floyd, is here. The investigations defects caseworker, Ms. Smith, is here. Father Henry Thrasher is here. The current foster parent, Ms. Weaver, is here. The case manager from foster care, Mr. Moore, is here. Officer Hammock with Hampton PD is here. Ms. White, a supervisor with defects. Ms. Henley Parks, a supervisor with defects, is monitoring. Ms. Brinson is monitoring. We need mom, and we don't have her here. Dad was identified in the petition as a putative father. I don't automatically consider appointing lawyers for putative fathers because usually more times than not, they're not involved in the case. We have one who says he's involved. And so, had you hired an attorney to represent you in this case, Mr. Thrasher?
Lisa, go on mute his phone. We actually talked to a lawyer today, and he was going to get back with him, but his phone is muted at the moment.
I see that. He doesn't know how to.
My sister going to unmute the phone.
Okay.
See, Ms. Brinson is on here, Your Honor. Who is she representing?
She's just monitoring some cases so, before she starts taking some appointed cases.
Okay. Thank you.
That's part of the requirements to get on the list. Mr. Thrasher?
Yes, sir.
Were you married to the mother at the time of birth or conception of either or both of these children?
No, sir. May have been to get married.
Okay. Did you ever file a lawsuit to have the children declared your legitimate offspring?
No, sir.
In Georgia, the father of an illegitimate child has no standing to seek custody or visitation until he legitimates the relationship by filing a lawsuit and having the court declare it's in the child's or children's best interest that he be declared their legitimate father, legal father. And you haven't done that, which is, don't feel bad because most unmarried parents, fathers don't do it until they get into something like this and find out they need to have done it.
I am the father, though.
I don't have any doubt.
Yes, sir.
Although I have had people tell me they were the father for 15 years, and when they take the paternity test, they're not the dad biologically. That has happened.
I already know to determine the test, everything.
Your sister said you had talked to an attorney. Did you hire the attorney to come to court with you?
No, sir.
Well, you need to be represented. You said when we got on the screen, I told you to wait till we got into the hearing. You said, I want my kids back, or I want my kids, or something to that effect. And
yes, sir.
You need a lawyer to represent you in this case, and you don't have one. Do you work?
Yes, sir. I want a lawyer.
Okay. Do you make enough money from your job or jobs that you can pay one out of your own pocket?
No, sir. I get a check.
What do you get a check for? For workers' comp or disability or what?
Disability.
What's your disability?
Bipolar and schizophrenia.
Okay. Doesn't your the mother of the children have some mental health issues as well?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the care of a doctor currently that monitors your medication and stuff?
No, sir.
Do you go to the counseling center in McDonough?
No, sir.
what doctor prescribes medication, or do you take any medication for your schizophrenia and bipolar?
I take medication.
Where do you get it? Usually a doctor has to prescribe it.
Yeah, I'm a Bartles and Griffin and McDonough.
Don't mean to interrupt, but he goes to it's a facility in Lamar County that he's attending. Him and Stacy, they both attend that facility. They are the one that prescribe the medicine and they write up their papers.
What's the name of the facility in Barnesville?
Hold on, let me ask my mom. Mom, McIntyre Trail.
Okay, well, that's what it's called here, and I wondered if it was the branch in Barnesville of the same state agency. But so, okay.
She like it.
So the lawyer that your sister said, your niece said that you talked to
Yes,
today
sir.
and yesterday, you're not planning to hire that person.
No, sir.
Okay. Do you work outside of getting your check from the Social Security?
No, sir.
Does anybody that's on the screen know where the mother, Miss Solka, is? I know a couple of you said you didn't know where she is. Y'all looked for her and you filed a missing persons report. Has anybody heard from her and know where she is?
No, everybody was blocked from her phone, from Facebook, and when we made a page to see when the last time she was on, it was 4 weeks ago.
Mr. Moore, have you made contact with her?
No, sir.
Anybody else from DFACS made contact with the mother?
Not that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
Officer,
No, sir.
you haven't heard from her?
No, sir.
Is it people who are related to her? Is it unusual that she would be gone without contact this long, or is this something that she's done in the
No,
past?
sir.
Mr. Thrasher, you say she's never done this, never just disappeared and gone off for a few days and then come back?
No, sir.
Okay. You agree with that? Ms. Floyd,
Yes.
Mr. Well, let me ask one other question, Mr. Floyd. Not Mr. Floyd, I'm sorry, Mr. Thrasher.
Sir.
Were you and the mother, you're not married, but were you sharing household together?
Me
Yes,
and
sir.
Stacy?
No.
Yes, sir.
These people, I'm talking to Mr. Thrasher, please don't interrupt.
Okay.
Did you say, I'm sorry, they were talking, so tell me your answer again. Were you and Miss Solka, did you share a household together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So y'all were still a couple, even though you weren't
Yes.
married?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. The reason I'm asking you that is I want to make arrangements for you to have an attorney appointed for you.
Yes, sir.
We don't have very many attorneys available. And I was looking to see if you could use the same lawyer that the mother is using, but she's never met because nobody knows where she is. I assume you haven't heard from her, Ms. Crane. I was told earlier that you had told staff that you had not.
No, Your Honor, I got her phone number last time and we gave her mine and I've not been able to reach her.
And you met her at the preliminary protective hearing?
Yes, she attended and I was able to speak with her briefly and we exchanged information. I know that the clerk gave her also my information and I have no contact.
Did she have family members in the area that she could have gone and stayed with?
No, sir.
She have a sister and a brother that's literally 45 minutes from here, but they are the one that filed a missing police report because when she left from Hampton, she went up there, but they said by the time they came to the door, she had left and they haven't seen her after that.
Okay. Well, Mr. Skowronek, I think I need to reset this for me to have Mr. Thrasher represented. even though he's a putative father, he's apparently been in the children's life.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Trust me, I have, sir. I have. Yes, sir. I put him on the bus. I go get him off the bus, watch him sleep. Then I feed him. Then I play with him. Everything.
Well, we'll have plenty of time at the next hearing to get into all that you want to share with me, but
Yes,
does
sir.
anyone have any objection to resetting the matter?
Your Honor,
Sir,
I think it would be if you're asking that question to me,
Yes.
I think that would be appropriate in this case. I hate to make Officer Hammock and them come back, but you know, that's kind of the nature of the beast. We were having trouble getting the mom. I kind of felt that might happen, but the evidence that from the mother and as to Mr. Thrasher is going to be somewhat the same and from the same people. So I think it would be perhaps prudent to do it as a combined hearing rather than splitting it up.
Of course, we may still be in the same boat about lack of service on mom, but then we'll just have to do an interim and then you'll have to publish on her if you haven't been able to locate her.
That's very possible, Your Honor. I may need to publish on her as well. I mean, I can certainly do it today, but if the court is inclined to grant Mr. Thrasher counsel, I don't think any counsel can be up to speed and fairly that quickly. So, you know, unless you want to rope Ms. Brinson.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to. Ms. Brinson, are you willing to take on this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So you are ready to proceed today?
I don't know the facts today, and haven't talked with my client.
I'm gonna reset it. I was teasing you. I'm not gonna make you try it today.
Okay.
Now I've got to find a date in the next sooner than later that we can reset it to. She had a date, and Ms. Brinson, you have the date that she picked you were on leave for. So she's got to move it, or you got to change your leave. One of the two.
No, sir. It's an international trip, so can't do that.
Mr. Well, who's the current Mr. Moore? Have you met Mr. Thrasher?
No, sir.
Did you know there was a Mr. Thrasher?
They're reading the previous case manager's notes. Yes.
Okay, well, I want you to make arrangements unless you have some reason to tell me now that it would be contrary to the children's best interest to make arrangements for him to have supervised contact with the kids between now and when we come back.
I think we had that at the preliminary hearing, Your Honor. Let me look at my notes from that, but I thought we addressed that then. Supervised visits for Mr. Thrasher unless he appeared to be under the influence one time per week minimum.
What do you mean under the influence?
That's what it means, showing up drunk. Hi.
He don't do drugs at all. So that's
Ma'am, we're
wrong.
not arguing with you.
I'm not arguing. I'm saying that Henry doesn't do drugs. That's Stacy. That's not him.
Mr. Asher, that's not what they're saying. They're just saying he cannot show up that way.
He has to be sober when he comes to the visits. That's all I'm saying.
I don't drink no more.
Okay, Mr. Thrasher, I didn't ask you. Listen, nobody gets to talk unless I call on you to talk. Okay? So when we come back next time, remember that. We don't all talk at the same time. And we don't talk out of turn unless you've been recognized. It works a lot smoother, and I can only hear one person at a time. That's fine. We got a 2-hour block next Wednesday. Isn't that next Wednesday?
Yes.
Do
So
I got to come in or what?
we can do it either way. I'm fine to do it on Zoom, but I'm fine for y'all all to come here in person.
Okay.
You rather do
I
it
ain't got
on
no
Zoom?
car.
At 2:00?
It's at noon.
Oh, at noon.
That's fine. 1 o'clock next Wednesday. And so is the consensus that you want to stay on Zoom or you want to come in person? I'm here either way.
I vote for Zoom. Ms. Crane?
I'd like to
Zoom
be
for
in
me as
person so that Matthias has to show up. Zoom is fine, Your Honor. No problem.
Yes, I ain't got no license.
Okay, well, you've got family members here supporting you. Surely one of them would give you a lift if you needed to get here, wouldn't they?
A little bit.
We're going to do it just like we did today, okay?
Yes, sir.
On the computer, but you have to, all of you, keep in mind, for whatever reason, and we've been doing Zoom for about 3 years now because of COVID, people are a little less intimidated about cutting in and talking when it's not their turn on Zoom than they do when they're in person in the courtroom. Not always. I get some that cut the fool in court too, but I need you to keep in mind that we don't talk out of turn. I promise I let everybody have a say that's entitled to have a say. You just have to wait for your turn. Even if you hear something that you don't agree with, you don't just blurt out and say that's a lie. That's not how we do court. So, Mr. Moore, you get acquainted with Mr. Thrasher and his situation and make arrangements for him to have supervised contact with the kids. And should mom show up, she can have supervised contact with the kids. And I hope that she's safe, even if she doesn't show up. I hope nothing's wrong with her or nothing has happened to her. But Mr. Thrasher, if you hear from her or find out where she is, if you'll let
yes, sir.
Mr. Moore, your case manager, know so they can try to get notice to her because we want her here too. And
yes, sir.
You can tell her when court is, but we need to get copies of the legal papers like you got the other day from the sheriff. We need her to get a set of those copies too.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
This lady that's on the screen, she's in the lower left-hand corner of my screen, which may not be, she may not be in the same location. Ms. Rachel Brinson, she's going to be your lawyer.
Yes, sir.
She had volunteered to be on our list of lawyers and was asked, and she just coincidentally was on Zoom to watch how we did. So she would learn how we do things because we have two judges and he and I don't necessarily hold court the same way. And she was trying to get familiar with that so that she could handle some of these cases. So she'll do a good job for you. She's done some others for us previously. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Actually.
I got a quick question before we log off, Your Honor. Do you see anything in the file from Peachford Hospital's counsel, attorney representing anybody from Peachford?
Nothing. I asked Robin before we went online and said, have we received anything from that hospital? And she said no. So nothing, unless something's downstairs, right, that just got delivered or something, or comes in. When do you get the mail? I wouldn't think he would have trusted the mail because I just signed this last week for the production.
I didn't get anything from, I followed up with Ms. Thrash this morning to see about whether or not there'd been service, but she didn't tell me anything about the medical subpoena. So I'm going to follow up with her.
See y'all next Wednesday. Y'all take care.
All right, thank you. Oh, the 1 o'clock is mine. The mom's in the Henry County Jail. We're working on getting her over. We don't have service on the dad. We'll see if he shows. So that one is in flux.
Well, isn't that the mother that was in a mental health facility?
It is. And they just told me yesterday that she's over in the Henry County Jail now. I don't know what for. So she was not showing as an inmate as of last night, but Prentice said that he verified with the jail that she is there.
Well, what arrangements did he make to get her transported?
I think
he has me to sign everything.
This morning.
I'm sorry?
Robin said she was working on that this morning because she was being proactive and diligent.
Sure. Have you guys had any luck with them? Have you guys had any luck with them?
Let me check. They haven't updated me, but I'll check.
Thank you. I have worked on it.
We don't have an answer for you. We're going to have to start the hearing and hopefully she'll join us.
Yeah.
Sure. How do you pronounce your last name?
School.
Thank you. All right, we got folks on things.
I'm not gonna spell anything and y'all can sign all this paper, please, please. Please, I made all this stuff for y'all to help nobody.
10-day adjudicatory hearing on the dependency petition filed by Henry County Department of Family and Children Services, alleging these children are dependent and need to remain in their temporary custody.
From who? The temporary custody of who?
Can you hear Judge Bartles?
Matthias, can you hear Judge Bartles?
But and you need to move that camera a little bit further left. All I see is Allison right now.
Can y'all hear me better now?
No, I don't see Ms. Brinson's client.
Well, he's.
And I don't see Officer Hammock either. Did anybody send Officer Hammock the email? Because I know that we had sent this down for a hearing and she was here and we agreed to continue it and everybody was supposed to get a copy of that, but I don't know if they got it or not.
This here for this case. The father's name is Henry Thrasher and Ms. Brinson, is Ms. Brinson on Zoom?
I am, Your Honor. I'm going to give him a call right quick. I did talk to him about an hour ago and he was planning to attend. So
A Zoom or in person?
by Zoom.
Okay.
They said he was dead with alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, give me a minute and see if I can get a hold of somebody.
The deputy said no one is outside the courtroom.
Henry Thrasher was dead in the hospital.
Conduct this hearing in what we call a hybrid hearing, where some of the people are appearing virtually over the internet using Zoom, and some of the folks are here live in the courtroom, along with me. The mother, Stacey Skula, is here with her attorney, Ms. Crane. And virtually, I see Mr. Skovanek, attorney for defects. I see Ms. Schrock, who's the appointed attorney and guardian ad litem for the minor children. I see Ms. Brinson. And I'm Phyllis Moore, the case manager. And then there's a lady in the Hollywood Square in the center that I can't recognize. What is your name, please?
Judge, I believe Shaylee Smith is with DFAX, which is your middle square, and Morgan Weaver, I believe, is the foster parent. Am I correct? Yes, Morgan Weaver.
Okay, she was here last time.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Skula, the deputy came out and told me that you said you didn't want to be here. And I'm not going to make you be here against your will, but I won't get to hear if you have your side of whatever the issues are in this case. I won't get to hear them if you're not here. So, do you want to participate in the hearing?
I mean, what do you want? I mean, what do you want me to say? I don't understand.
I don't want you to say anything, and you may not need to say anything, but you need to hear about what's going on.
Yeah, I took care of my kids. I mean,
Ma'am, I cannot hear you. One thing, you got your face, hands over your face, and that makes it hard for me to hear. What is it you wanted me to hear? Ms. Skula, could you repeat what you said?
I said I took care of my kids and other people took care of my kids and I don't.
The question was, you had told the deputy you didn't want to come in here. So I'm asking you, do you want to be in here? I'm not going to make you. You can go back to the jail. I won't hear your side of the case. And if that's what you want, I respect that. I don't recommend that, but it's your case. And they're your children. And right now we don't have dad either.
I don't have anybody to take care of them, so I don't know. Well, I won't even do it.
Man, I would assume you're saying something that you want me to hear, but I cannot hear you. You're not talking loud enough.
I don't have to talk any fucking louder, man. I'm
We're not going to use that word in court.
But it's a pain issue every damn time we come here. Every damn time.
Well, just take a pause for a minute and let me tell you what's going to happen if you use the F word again or the D word again. If you can't speak without profanity, then just don't speak. But if you do it, I'm going to fine you for contempt.
Well,
Each time, don't talk while I'm
I've heard you
talking.
cuss before, so let's go.
Ma'am, I need you to-
Call everybody phone if you cussing, okay? Because some people that cuss need to cuss because other people don't want to fucking hear what they have to say.
All right.
For fuck's sake, man.
Yeah,
Act like you got some fucking sense, man.
Yeah,
I'm fucking sick of this. I don't care. Take me back then, man. Sick of this shit, man. Y'all want to fucking cuss at everybody else, and they cuss more, and then tell somebody they can't goddamn cuss,
Got
man.
3 days for contempt.
Tired of this.
You
Good.
asked to be taken back, so you can go. Thank you.
Hungry, man.
Are you taking your mental health med?
No, because they don't want to give them to me. And you already know that.
So I don't know.
So you guys all.
Yes.
You guys are staying. I didn't get a signature.
That's fine. They'll take him down to the jail.
Would you like me to hold for a little bit or want me to take her back?
I don't think so. I would quick.
I may put it somewhere. If we need that one.
You can just hand them to her and say she refused to sign, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
might refuse to sign.
If she refuses, that's fine, but she needs to,
This is just her pocket.
Yes.
Mr. Thrasher has not thrown up. It's shown up, I'm sorry.
Your Honor, I was able to talk to him on the phone, and I texted him the link again. He thought that he was on. I think he's on, I don't know what link he used, but he's having some trouble figuring out Zoom. I think the person who helped him the last time is in the store, so he's trying to get the family member to help.
Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and start.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's 2:00. So if we don't finish, we may have to carry over. All right, you may proceed.
Judge.
I do have a question.
Return her back.
Yeah, wait just a second. Let me make the record clear that the mother did not want to stay, and you heard what she said. And I'm not going to repeat what she said, but she's back in the holding cell, and I'm authorizing the deputies to take her back to the jail. She said I think her last words going out is she was hungry.
She ate a sandwich before she came over here. I
But
watched
didn't she say I'm hungry?
She did say that.
I didn't mean to imply y'all hadn't fed her. I just that she had other interests that outweighed the interest of her kids today. All right.
Yes, sir.
So I wasn't paying attention when that all occurred. So I just want to make sure I understood you correctly. I'm assuming that mom had some sort of mental outburst and then she's been taken back to the holding cell. Is that correct?
Yes, before we started, she told the deputies she did not want to come out here. She didn't want to mess with it. And I asked them to bring her out, and she started out fairly calm. She would not talk to her appointed attorney other than to curse her. And when she went to visit with her, and
So she would not talk to Ms. Crane. Is that correct?
that's right. She told her to get the F out of her face. And
Okay. All right. So
I thought maybe I would calm her down, and unfortunately, somehow I managed to rile her up. And when I told her that she didn't have to talk with the cuss words, and
can I ask procedurally? And okay. So I just got a chat. I got an update from Ms. Schrock on that. So okay, I'll move on from that. But I do have a question procedurally then. So the father has already been served. My question is about the mother. I'm assuming that she's not in a position to acknowledge service. Can we get the deputy to serve her or what?
she's appeared here and then declined to participate. So I feel like she's consented to the jurisdiction of the court. A service packet was prepared for her and given to her. She was asked to sign the acknowledgement and she refused. But I contend she's been served. Sheriff gave her the service papers here, and I guess Deputy Warren can sign the sheriff's return if we need to. She wouldn't sign the acknowledgement for Ms. Crane or for the deputy.
So she refused to sign an acknowledgement. So is somebody going to then actually serve her with the paperwork?
Yeah, the deputy gave her the service packet.
Okay. Okay. So that will take care of that. All right, just make a note here.
Father's now in the waiting room, I think, so we'll let him join.
the department asked me to confirm mom's last name. Mom refused to spell it for me and refused to confirm her last name. But when Judge Bartles asked her, she did pronounce her last name as Skula. So I'm going to guess Szkula.
Mr. Thrasher does not have audio on this device.
Yes.
It means he doesn't have it activated.
Okay. All right. Very good. Yes.
Ms. Brimson, can you call him and tell him he needs to pull over? We're going to disconnect him. He cannot be in a moving vehicle and be on Zoom with us. And he needs to turn on his audio. Somebody with you in the car, Mr. Thrasher, who is that?
No, sir, man. She went inside shopping.
How old is she?
More, what, 28?
So she's not a witness in this case?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Mr. Scrivano, go ahead.
I'm going to try. Officer Hammock, you've already been sworn, so if you would go ahead and state your name for the record, please.
Officer Hammock with Hampton Police Department.
Did you recently become involved with Mr. Henry Thrasher, the father of Brenda and Bailey, mother, Ms. Zakula, the mother of those children?
Yes, sir, I did.
And was that on or about August 4th of 2023?
Yes, sir, it was that evening. I was on shift.
All right. Can you tell the court, Ms. Officer Hammock, as to why you became involved with that family on that date?
So on that date, I can't remember the exact time, but we got 2 calls that evening. One call, it was dealing with his, the mother of his child. She seemed to be not in her right state of mind at the time. When I made contact with her, she wasn't really making any sense. She was saying she was a lottery winner. I'm not a doctor or anything, but I believe that she was on, some sort of drug. And she tried to get in her car with, I believe his name was Bailey, the son. She tried to get in her car with him, and myself and my supervisor, we stopped her because we believed that something wasn't, right. We spoke with his niece, Taisha, the one that was in the car with him. And, she was like, she does this. She doesn't know what's going on. I guess they had some words. We asked her to go back in. That was pretty much, what happened at that point. Then we got a call back out because she called us in reference to Mr. Thrasher's health. She was saying that he needed an ambulance. So when we made contact again, we knocked on the door. Bailey came out. I want to say it was later in the evening. I know it was after 10 o'clock, that second call. He came out with no shoes on, opened the door. I asked him where his mom was. He said she thinks she fell asleep. She was in the back. So he told us that he would open the back door for us. He opened the back door. And immediately, I was alarmed because there was no lights on in the kitchen. It was in no condition for anyone, child or adult, to live in. There was just trash and stuff everywhere, broken glass on the floor. Again, he was walking barefoot. He showed me where his mom was. She seemed to, be calmer than the first interaction I had with her. In the back room, Mr. Thrasher was laying down. He couldn't really speak, I guess due to his condition. So, I started the ambulance and everything, and I let my supervisor know what was going on. I started taking pictures. Looked in the bathroom. The tub was filled with filthy water. The toilet wasn't working. I don't believe there was running water back there. It appeared to be like a storage unit in a way, instead of, something that someone can live in. Again, just stuff all over the floor. I looked in the refrigerator. There was only like a takeout container. I want to say some fruit and something to drink there. Other than that, the entire fridge was empty. And I contacted DFACS and my lieutenant and let them know what we had going on.
Okay. So let me go back for a second. You said the first call, you don't remember exactly what time that was, that the father called about concerns about the mother, correct?
No, so the mother called us and she told us that she didn't call. So dispatch let us know that it was her that called initially. So when we made contact with her, we were trying to figure out who called us, what was the issue. And she was just kind of, out of her mind. She was just rambling, saying random stuff. She's a lottery winner. She's going to the store. She got money. And we're just like, ma'am, what's your name? I asked her, if her name was, I can't remember. They gave us a different name, dispatch. If that was her name. She said, no, she gave me her real name. And I'm just like, okay, well, at this point, she told us that she didn't call. There was nothing going on. But when she tried to get in the car, we realized how she was talking and she just wasn't making sense. So we had her get out of the vehicle. Then I properly parked her vehicle. And that's when we made contact with Taisha, and she was just saying she was just going off, cursing her out and stuff. She was like, she does this. We did ask her if she had taken anything, any kind of drugs. And she said that, I want to say she said
that Taisha gave her Percocet, and Taisha said no, she did not. But yeah, that's the only thing that she told us that she took. We said, well, when was the last time that you've taken it? Was it in the last 24 hours? She said yes. But so I'm not sure, if that's exactly what happened, but that's what she said. My body cam was on for all of this. But yeah, when she tried to get in the car with her with the son Bailey, the daughter was next door at the time at, I want to say, his sister's house, or it was a family member. It's like a duplex, so they were next door. But yeah, we got them out the car. We just asked her to go back inside because we weren't trying to take her to jail initially, but I mean, she ended up going.
Okay, so let me go back again to the first.
Okay.
Now, did you make contact with Mr. Thrasher during that first time out to the home?
No, I did not. I did not know that he was in the back of the home in the beds.
Okay. And then do you recall about well, before I get to that question, was this for an address that was located at 16?
Yes, sir.
And is that address located here in Henry County?
Yes, sir, it is.
And were the children, as well as the mother and father of those children, located at that address when you made contact with them on August 4th of 2023?
Bailey was at the address with Henry Thrasher and the mother, and what's her name? Deborah.
Brenda.
She was. I'm sorry. Brenda, I'm sorry. So, and Brenda was next door at the family member's house. If I'm not mistaken, Taisha told me that the little girl, she doesn't like being over there because she was scared. So that's why she was over at the other address. Very, very smart little girl. She was telling me a lot of things. But yeah, she did not want to be over there with them.
I don't even know you.
I understand. You couldn't. I was in the room
I
with you,
don't
sir.
know
asking
you.
if you
I
were
wasn't
okay.
there. I wasn't there. I was at the hospital.
Mr.
I was at the
Jackie,
hospital. How I can know you?
You weren't at the hospital at the time, sir.
Objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Thrasher, do not interrupt again, or you will not be in this hearing anymore. Officer, don't argue with the witness. You don't respond to him.
Yes, sir. I'm not arguing, but
When I say stop talking, I mean stop talking. Everybody.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I couldn't hear you through him.
Go ahead with your next question, Mr. Chronic.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. So you said that when you went out, there was the second call, and that you made contact with Mr. Thrasher after Bailey let you into the home, or the young boy. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's correct.
And that you observed that Ms. Zolka was asleep in the home.
Yes, and then she was. Well, he said that the child said she was asleep, but she was awake. She was laying down in the bed next to Mr. Thrasher.
And when you, with regards to the second call, were you able to determine who made that call?
She's the son said that the mother called. Okay. But again, she was more calm than she was the first time that I made contact with her. But she had no recollection of calling us.
All right. And when you observed Mr. Thrasher, what did you observe about his condition when you went out to the home the second time?
He could not speak. We would ask him, was he okay? He was laying down, face down in the bed. He looked as if he's in no condition of taking care of anyone, not even himself. We would ask him, like, is he okay? They told us that he had, I guess, cirrhosis of the liver and some other issues. He seemed to be very malnourished. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. I can only tell you, of how he looked to me. That's when we called the ambulance, and they did take him to the hospital that night.
From your observations of Mr. Thrasher before he was taken by the ambulance, could you make a determination as to whether or not Mr. Thrasher appeared to be under the influence of anything?
I couldn't say he was under the influence of anything. I would just say that it was possibly from his condition, that he was immobile. He couldn't even walk. They had to, with so much stuff in there, we had to move furniture around just to kind of carry him out to get the stretcher in.
Okay. Right. You had talked a little bit about this before, but you had expressed some concerns about the conditions of the home, there being broken glass and lots of, stuff in the home, and you just described about having to move some of that to get. Were any of the utilities observed to be working in the home at the time that you were out there on August 4th?
Yes, there was. The lights were on. But there, when we first walked in, I guess there was no, working bulb. So we had to take a bulb from the back room. What the firefighters did, they took a bulb from the back room and put it in where the kitchen is. So I will say that the lights were on, but I don't think there was any working water due to the condition of the tub and the toilet.
Okay. Were you able to determine as to whether the mother and the father had any kind of lease or rental agreement which allowed them to be in fact residing in that particular residence that you found them?
Their family member, I want to say that was Taisha's mother. She's an older woman. She stated that she was allowing them to stay there because Brenda, I guess, burnt down their previous residence. I guess there was some sort of accident that she set it on fire. So she was allowing them to stay there because they were homeless. And she told me that no one was staying there for a while. I would think that's why it, appeared to be that way.
You said also during your conversation with the mother that she reported to having taken Percocet. At any time during your conversations with her on August 4th, did the mother also report to you as to having taken fentanyl?
Not that I can recall.
And as a result of, you said at some point in time, the mother was arrested, I think. What was the mother arrested and charged with?
So my supervisor did that portion. I want to say she was charged with, I want to just say it was cruelty to children and maybe disorderly conduct. But the jail didn't take her.
Do you know why?
I think it had to do with medical issues. So she ended up going to the hospital instead.
All right. And I've looked up her. Could the other charge be maintaining a disorderly house?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. And then those charges apparently are only as to Ms. Zakula. And do you know why there were no charges brought against Mr. Thrasher?
I believe because of his condition, and at that time, we didn't know he was the father. Prior to, he couldn't speak, and then prior to him being taken to the hospital, we didn't have that information at the time.
Okay. And then you had described about during that initial call about some concerns that you had about Ms. Zakula's behavior. What specifically were you seeing in her behavior that led you to have concerns about her taking, I think it was Bailey, and driving off with that child?
Yes. She wasn't making any sense. She was just speaking erratically. And then she was a little aggressive towards me. She was like, "You're my friend." And she tried to hug me. And I'm like, "No, ma'am, don't touch me." It wasn't normal behavior, the way she was speaking. And it wasn't making any sense. So when she tried to get in the vehicle, we flashed our light in her eyes and we could see that her pupils were dilated. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I was I worked for Clayton County Fire before. So some of these things we're familiar with when somebody's under the influence or, a drug or anything, their pupils will be dilated. So when we saw that, that's when we, asked her to step out of the vehicle.
And then when you were speaking with Ms. Zakula during the second call,
yes.
And you said you found her on the bed or laying next to Mr. Thrasher. After you got her up and were talking to her, did she give you any explanation as to why Mr. Thrasher was in the condition that he was in?
She said he's been sick for a very long time, and all I can recall they told me was cirrhosis of the liver.
And did she explain what sick for a very long time meant?
No, I know he got sick he used to drink a lot. So.
Did you notice the smell of alcohol on Mr. Thrasher when you had interactions with him on that evening?
No, I could not. He was laying face down, so.
I don't think I have any other questions for Officer Hammock, Your Honor, and I do want to express again my appreciation for your joining us on such short notice.
That's okay. Thank you.
Ms. Branson, do you have any questions?
So to be clear, on the first time you went to the house on August 4th, you did not observe Mr. Thrasher to be there. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. The first time that I made contact with her, she was already outside. We knocked on her door and she came outside. So I did not enter the home at all.
Okay. So you don't know whether he was there or not at that point?
No. And if I may add, the second time when we got the call, it wasn't even like an hour in between.
Who is the older woman that you referred to who claims to have allowed the parties to stay at the residence?
She lives directly next door in the duplex. I cannot recall her name, but I want to say it's his sister, Taisha's mom.
You mean Mr. Thrasher's sister?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Thrasher's sister.
And did you get ID from her?
I believe my supervisor did. Again, he did the other report. So.
Do you have any okay, so this was do you know her name?
Not off the top of my head, no, but I can definitely get it for you.
Did you ask the mother, Miss Skula, whether she had a lease or anything like that to remain on premises?
No.
Better finish the question before you answer, please.
So I just want to clarify. So the mother was arrested and charged with cruelty to children and disorderly conduct and maintaining a disorderly house. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you claim that someone told you that Mr. Thrasher may have cirrhosis of the liver. Who are these people persons who allegedly told you that he might have that condition?
His niece, Taisha.
Did you attempt to flush the toilet in the residence?
No, ma'am, I did not have gloves on, so I didn't want to touch it. But there was no water in there, and it was rusted and brown.
Okay. Did you attempt to turn on any of the faucets?
There was no handles to the faucets.
So you don't know for sure whether or not the toilet and the water worked?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Okay, that's all. I don't have any other questions.
Yeah, right here, sorry. Can you clarify, I was taking notes during your testimony. Can you clarify at what point the mother, Miss Skula, was arrested?
This was on the second encounter. I was still inside taking pictures and everything. So my supervisor led this part of the investigation, Sergeant Lowe. And he had her in his custody in his vehicle. So their portion of the conversations and everything, I cannot attest to.
That's okay. The reason that I'm asking, can you confirm whether the mother was arrested as the result of a traffic stop where the mother was driving under the influence?
Oh, no, ma'am.
Okay. So on August 4th, 2023, the mother was arrested during one of your calls to the home, not as a result of a traffic stop.
That's correct.
And at the time that she was arrested at the home, whose decision was it? Was she 1013 from the home?
You said, was she 1013? That was
she 1013 from the home?
I don't believe so. Again, I was inside on this portion dealing with the children.
Okay.
And trying to get in touch with DFACS.
Okay. Do you know if the mother ever went to the jail to be held, or did you all transport her directly to a hospital?
I did not do that portion. Again, I stayed on scene with the children and DFACS.
Okay. And also, to clarify again, your testimony was, as far as Mr. Thrasher was concerned, you personally could not tell whether he was in a state of severe intoxication?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Ms. Schrock?
Yes, sir. Officer Hammock, you testified that you responded to Ms. Brinson stating that you were not sure about the water working because you didn't attempt, but you saw that there were no handles,
Yes,
handles
ma'am.
on the faucet. So based on that, based on what you saw, would a young child, 6 and 7 years of age, been able to turn on the water based on with there not being any handles on the faucets?
No, ma'am. In my opinion, no.
Okay. Did you, and you stated it appeared due to there not being any water in the toilets that those are inoperable. These children are not in diapers. Did you see any area that was suitable for these children to use the toilet?
No, ma'am. That was the only toilet in there.
Okay. And did you see any space where these children were sleeping or utilizing for a sleeping space?
I only saw that one bed because it was so much like furniture and boxes and stuff. When we walked through, there was just a path. So in the back rear bedroom to the left, that was the only bed that I saw that Bailey was playing on his phone. His dad and his mom were all in the same bed.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Redirect.
Just briefly, Your Honor, Officer Hammock, when you spoke to either Mr. Thrasher or Ms. Zakula, did either of them tell you how long that they had been residing at that 16?
No, sir.
Did they either of them tell you why they were living at that address?
No, sir. And I got that information from the child voluntarily. She was just, kind of blurting out information.
Right.
And
What did
again, Mr. Thrasher couldn't really speak.
Okay. What did the child tell you?
She told me that, Brenda, she said that she didn't want to stay over there and she burnt their last home down.
That Brenda burnt the house down?
Yes. She said she was playing with a lighter or mattress or something and it was an accident.
And did Brenda tell you why she didn't want to stay at that house?
Because she was scared. Of what? I wasn't sure. I didn't want to go into, too many details. I just kind of let her talk.
Okay. No other questions, Your Honor.
If witness be excused,
You can.
any objection?
No objection.
Thank you, officer. You're excused.
Okay, thank you.
Call your next witness.
Ms. Smith, Case Manager Smith, and would you tell the court how that you became involved with those children on that particular date, please?
I received a phone call. I was on call, and I received a phone call with it being an immediate case. So I went straight out to the residence.
And was that at an address located at 16?
Yes, sir.
All right. And who did you make contact with at that address?
When I arrived, I made contact with Detective Hammond.
Okay. And did you also make contact with the mother of the children, Ms. Stacy Zakula?
Yes.
And did you also make contact with the putative father of the children, Mr. Henry Thrasher?
That night, no.
Okay. And was that because Mr. Thrasher had been taken to the hospital?
Yes.
Right. Did you have an opportunity to walk through the home of the children and Mr. and Ms. Thrasher at some point in time on the evening of August 4th?
No, sir. Later that day, when I made contact with the family, I was not able to get in the home.
Okay. At some point in time, did you get into the home to take photographs of the home?
The photograph that I received was from Detective Hammond.
Are these the photographs that you received for the residents at 16?
Yes, sir.
But they don't stay and told them. You guys purpose it.
And
Hi, hello.
those first 11 photographs then are the photographs of the home of.
Yes, sir.
All right. And Your Honor, I've given copies of these to Ms. Crane, Ms. Brinson, and Ms. Schrock, and the department would tender in DFAX exhibits number 1 through 11 at this time.
The objection?
No objection.
No objection.
Ms. Brinson,
No objection.
committed.
Thank you. With regards to your conversations with Ms. Zakula, the mother, did you have an opportunity to talk with her while you were at the home on August 4th of 2023?
When she returned home from being arrested, I did get to speak with her briefly to discuss the safety plan and what would be happening moving forward.
All right. What, if anything, did Ms. Zakula report to you about why she, the children, and Mr. Thrasher were residing at the 16th?
It was due to their apartment being burned down in Griffin.
Okay. And during your conversation with Ms. Zakula, were you advised, or did you know that the family had been given a hotel that they could stay at while they tried to find a place of their own?
Yes, sir. I was told that they were given a hotel voucher from Red Cross, and they were assisting with their placement.
Did you get any explanation from the mother, Ms. Zakula, as to why the family was living in this residence rather than using the voucher for the hotel that they received from the Red Cross?
No, sir.
And you said that you had made contact with Ms. Zakula at some point in time later in the morning or in the day. What time do you recall meeting with Ms. Zakula?
It was after 10:30 in the morning.
During your conversations with Ms. Zakula, is there anything about her behavior that caused you concerns, or or speech or anything like that?
I remember her slurring in speech. She did appear to seem like she may have been intoxicated or under the influence.
And what did you specifically observe about Ms. Zakula that led you to believe that she may have been under the influence of something?
She admitted to me that her drug of choice was fentanyl, and she was using Percocet.
Did she tell you the last time that she used fentanyl?
No, sir, not that I can recall.
Did she tell you how long she had been using fentanyl?
No, she did not disclose how long.
Did you ask her?
No. I just asked her what her drug of choice was.
Okay. Did she also report to you, you heard Officer Hammock stating that the mother had reported taking Percocet. Did she also report to you that she had taken any kind of Percocet during your conversation with her?
Yes.
Did she report to you where she got that Percocet from?
She stated that Percocet was a prescription that was from, I'm sorry, I can't think of the name, but it's a facility in Griffin that they were receiving treatment from.
Did you, were you shown a prescription bottle by Ms. Zakula showing that she had a valid prescription for Percocet?
No, sir.
Did you ask her for one?
I did.
At some point in time during this, your meeting with Ms. Zakula, did you have her enter into a safety plan where the children would be safety resourced out of the home of the mother and the father?
Yes.
And what were the parameters of the safety plan? In other words, where would the children go? What were the mother and the father supposed to do? That kind of thing.
The safety plan included that mom and dad were to comply with all defects recommendations until the closure of the case. The children were to be placed with Ms. Taisha Thrasher as a VK, and they were to do monitor visits.
When you say VK, what does that mean?
Voluntary kinship.
And where did Ms. Thrasher, the voluntary kinship, reside?
Next door at.
And did Ms. Zakula sign and agree to that safety plan on or about August 4th?
Yes, she did.
At some point in time later that day, did you receive further information about Ms. Zakula having been pulled over by law enforcement in another county?
Yes, sir.
What was reported to you about that?
It was reported that Ms. Zakula was driving. She was pulled over. When the officers asked her where she was going, she stated that she was on her way to the fentanyl house.
And in what county was that?
Spalding County.
And what happened or what was reported to happen with Ms. Zakula as a result of that traffic stop?
She was taken to Peachford Behavioral Health System.
Do you know why the mother was taken to Peachford as a result of that traffic stop?
They observed that she had mental health issues that needed to be addressed. And when I contacted the facility, they said that she was in for detoxing.
Did you also receive a report from Ms. Thrasher of the Safety Resource Placement about the mother having called her during this traffic stop?
Yes, she called. I can't recall if it was during the traffic stop or when she was in the facility, but she did call Ms. Taisha and told her to go ahead and kill the kids.
And did you, is that what Ms. Thrasher reported to you, Ms. Taisha Thrasher?
Yes, sir.
Did either Ms. Zakula or Mr. Thrasher or anyone else report to you about the mother having any history of mental health or mental illness?
They did not report that she has a history of mental illness. No, sir.
Did you, during your conversation with Ms. Zakula, ask her if she had ever been diagnosed with any kind of mental health issues?
Yes, she stated that she was bipolar, and I believe that was it.
Did the mother tell you as to whether or not she was receiving any kind of medical care to address her bipolar disorder?
No, sir. She
She
stated
didn't tell
that
you?
he was receiving assistance. Her and Mr. Thrasher was receiving assistance from Macintosh Trail, but she did not confirm that it was current.
Did Ms. Zakula report to you as to when the last time she had gone to be assessed or gone for an appointment to Macintosh Trail was?
No, sir.
Did the mother report to you as to whether or not she was prescribed any medication to address her bipolar disorder?
She stated she got a prescription of Seroquel.
Did Ms. Zakula provide you with proof of that? Did she show you a prescription bottle or anything like that?
No, sir.
Prior to Cumming Street address in Hampton, where was the family living to your knowledge?
From my understanding, they were living in Griffin prior.
And that was before the apartment that they were living in or whatever burned to the ground?
Correct.
To your knowledge, were the children attending school in Spalding County?
They were attending school and they were checked out on August 2nd.
Of this year?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of whether or not the children were ever re-enrolled in Henry County schools?
No, I'm not aware.
Did you have any discussions with the mother, Ms. Zakula, or with Mr. Thrasher during your investigation about why the children had not been enrolled in school after the family moved to Henry County?
From when I did get a chance to speak to Mr. Thrasher, he did state that the kids were unenrolled at the current school and they were in the process of being enrolled in their current address, but that was it.
Do you know into which school the children were supposedly being enrolled?
No, sir, I can't recall.
At some point in time, were the children removed from the placement with Taisha Thrasher?
Yes,
When was that? When did that occur?
the 10th of August.
And what was the reason that the children were removed from the home of Ms. Taisha Thrasher?
The home was not suitable for the children to reside in.
And did you take some photographs of the home of Ms. Taisha Thrasher?
Yes, sir.
And were those photographs taken by you?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to try to do another screen
All
share.
right.
Real quick. Can everybody see that now?
Yes, I did take that picture.
Okay. So I'm going to just scroll through here really slowly. That's the first one is number 12. Second one is number 13. And then number 14. You see all of those, Ms. Smith?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you take those photographs?
Yes, sir.
Tell me what DFAX exhibit number 12, the top photograph that I'm showing here on the screen right now, what does that show?
This will be the bathroom that is in the home. There's no tub and there's no tub.
It looks to me as though this looks to be like some sort of like plastic
storage bin.
tub of some kind,
Uh-huh.
like a storage box or something.
Mhm.
All right. And then to the right, what looks or appears to be where the faucets and or handles to turn on the water would be, and it appears that those are missing. Is that accurate?
Correct.
So there's no way to get any water out of any of those fixtures that are shown in that photograph. Is that correct?
Correct.
Before I move on to the next photograph, was there actually running water anywhere in the home of Miss Taisha Thrasher?
The kitchen did have running water and the toilet did flush.
Okay. And that, again, this is the same set of photographs, number 13. What is that a photograph of, and what does that show?
Well, this was the kitchen area. I wanted to kind of get a big picture of what was going on, but the stove was not working. The gas was not properly working. So the family was using the toaster oven in replacement of the stove. And you can't see, but there is a roach infestation in the home. So there was roaches everywhere.
Okay. And then again, what does defects number 14, what is that? Excuse me, what is that a picture of, and what does that show?
Uncovered wires and an uncovered light switch. If the breaker is on, if you attempt to touch it, it will spark. It can shock the person that's trying to use it.
How the hell I know something about it?
And do these when were these photographs taken? Do you recall the date that you took those photographs?
I do not recall the date. They were taken between the next morning the BK assessment complete.
Can I ask the court to have Mr. Thrasher mute his microphone? I'm getting a lot of background noise from there.
Keep your microphone, Mr. Thrasher, please.
So fucking tired.
Mute it for me, please.
Don't.
All right, thank you, Hunter. And so again, you went out to the home on August 4th. The children were removed from the home of Ms. Thrasher, Ms. Taisha Thrasher, you said on August 10th. So this would have been sometime, these photographs sometime between August 4th and August 10th?
Yes, sir.
All right. And are these photographs accurately depicting the home of Ms. Taisha Thrasher at the time that you took the photographs?
Yes, sir.
All right. And have they been altered or in any way to your knowledge?
No, sir.
And our department would tender in at this time defects exhibits number 12, 13, and 14, please.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
You're through?
At some point in time during your investigation and your involvement in this case, Ms. Smith, did you speak with Mr. Thrasher?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall when that was?
It was the next morning on the 4th. He was released from the hospital.
Okay. And during your conversations with Mr. Thrasher, was there anything about his behavior or demeanor that caused you concern?
My personal opinion, he did appear to be under the influence. I'm not sure of what.
All right. What did you see or observe about Mr. Thrasher that led you to believe that he may be under the influence?
By the way that he spoke, it was slurred and I don't know how to describe, all over the place. He did ask me for a ride, and the ride did not include food. It was for him to go get alcohol.
I can't hear you, please.
Mr. Thrasher did ask me for a ride. It did not include a ride to go get food. He asked for me to take him to get alcohol.
Okay.
At some point in time during your investigation, did the department through you make a request of Mr. Thrasher for him to go and enroll into a substance abuse treatment program?
Yes, we did ask him if he would like to accept treatment.
And what was his response?
He denied wanting help.
During your conversation with Mr. Thrasher, did you ask him about his alcohol use?
I asked, I can't really recall the exact question, but he did state that he does not use drugs and that he drinks alcohol.
Did he tell you what he drinks and how frequently he drinks and in what amounts?
No, sir.
Did Mr. Thrasher report to you during your conversations with him about any mental health diagnoses that he may have?
I cannot recall any mental health diagnosis.
Do you recall when we were in court on the 29th of August, do you recall Mr. Thrasher having reported to the court as being disabled?
He appears to be disabled.
That's not my question. My question was, is when we were last in court and had to continue this case. And do you recall Mr. Thrasher telling this court that he was disabled?
I don't recall. I apologize.
Do you recall Mr. Thrasher having told the court that he was disabled as a result of his diagnosis with schizophrenia?
I do recall him mentioning schizophrenia, yes.
But did Mr. Thrasher ever report that he had been diagnosed with schizophrenia with you when you were involved?
Not that I remember, no, sir.
During your conversation with Ms. Zakula before on August 4th, did she report to you of being employed?
She did. She reported that she was working at Applebee's.
Did she provide you with any proof of that?
No, sir.
Was that at the Applebee's? What Applebee's was that she reported she was working at?
I didn't ask.
Did Mr. Thrasher report to you any source of income or employment?
No, sir.
Did Mr. Thrasher or Ms. Zakula report to you as to either of them reporting that they were legally married?
They did not report being legally married, but they did report being married. I did not ask for documents.
And with regards to the children, did Mr. Thrasher report to you as to whether or not he had ever legitimated either of the children?
He did not report him being legitimated. No, sir.
What about Ms. Zakula? Did she ever report that Mr. Thrasher had legitimated the children to you?
No, no, sir.
So with regards to the department's efforts to avoid removal, other than the initial safety plan, placing the children in the home of Ms. Felicia Thrasher, and then asking the father to undergo a substance abuse treatment, were there any other services that the department offered to either the mother or Mr. Thrasher?
We offered drug counseling and what is that? Therapy services. But Dad, he denied them when we, asked him if he would like. And Mom, she was already in the facility, so no.
So were you then, as a result of Ms. Zakula's hospitalization, were you prevented from making any further efforts to provide services to her while she was hospitalized?
Yes, it was prevented.
Right. And is the department asking for continued temporary custody of these children at this time?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Did the mother and the father ever tell you as to how they happened to be living there? Did they have a lease agreement, a rental agreement, or what?
No, sir.
No, sir, what?
No, there's no lease agreement. We did not discuss anything other than them being there due to the fire that took place at the apartment.
And do you know how they came to be living at that particular address?
No, sir. According to Miss Taisha, they were putting their belongings in the home and they just never left.
And how did they get access to the home? Do you know?
It is a family home. There was a previous aunt who is now deceased who was living there.
And do you know if the previous aunt owned the property or was renting it from somebody?
It is unclear if she owned or rented.
And to your knowledge, with regards to this, going to Ms. Crane's questions to Officer Hammock to some extent, but when you talked about mother having been pulled over in Spalding County for that traffic stop later in the day on August 4th, was the mother arrested as a result of that, or was she simply hospitalized?
She was hospitalized.
You're not aware of any criminal charges pending against Ms. Zakula for that traffic stop at this time?
No, sir.
And is the department aware of either of these children having previous child protective services history?
Yes.
And was Brenda previously in foster care for approximately 2 years in Spalding County?
Yes, sir.
And did that case in Spalding County, did that involve allegations of domestic violence and substance abuse?
Yes, sir.
No other questions for Ms. Smith, Your Honor.
Ms. Crane?
No, Your Honor.
I have a couple.
Go ahead.
The previous history, one was the most recent date of that, the previous history with the department. The most recent history before 2023.
I cannot recall the actual date.
Was that years ago, or are we talking some months ago?
To be honest with you, I can't recall the exact date.
Okay. When is the last time that the department had contact with Mr. Thrasher?
In this last week.
Last week. And what was the nature of that contact?
From my understanding, it was with another case manager and they were just doing their preliminary visit.
So you stated that he asked for a ride to get alcohol. Did he specifically tell you what he was going to purchase?
He said about it.
With respect to the home, I think it was unclear at the beginning who reported to you why they were there.
Ms. Taisha reported to me why they were there.
Okay. And with respect to the alternative accommodations in a hotel or motel or whatever, are you personally familiar with that? I guess it was through the Red Cross. Is that something that you have seen confirmation or validation of?
I wasn't able to find any confirmation or validation.
Okay. So as far as you know, or you don't know for sure that there was an alternative.
Correct.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Ms. Schrock,
No questions, Your Honor.
redirect,
No, sir.
call your next witness.
Mr. Moore. All right. As to the mother, Ms. Zakula, did you recently determine that the mother is currently incarcerated?
Yes, sir.
When did you find that out?
Monday, September 4th, I was doing a visit with Henry and the children, and he told me.
Mr. Thrasher told you that?
Yes, sir.
And were you able to confirm that Ms. Zakula is currently incarcerated in Henry County Jail with charges of maintaining a disorderly house and cruelty to children in the first degree?
Yes, sir.
And does she have a bond at this point of $5,000?
Yes, sir.
And during your conversation with Mr. Thrasher, did either he or anyone else have the ability to make that bond for Ms. Zakula, the mother?
We didn't discuss her being bonded out by Henry or anybody else.
During your meeting with Mr. Thrasher on Monday of this week, did you have a chance to walk through the home where Mr. Thrasher was still residing?
Yes, sir. We walked through the house.
Is that Georgia address?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And during your describe for the court, if you would, what the current conditions of the home are when you went out to the home on Monday to do that walkthrough.
So just for clarification, I'm not sure if it was 16 or 15 because it's a duplex home. And so I'm not sure which, number it was, whether it was 15 or 16, but we did access the home through the back door. It was like some piles of trash about when you were about to walk into the house. We walked through, it was stuff everywhere, but it was like a pathway to the back room. We went in there, he showed me around. I asked him, did he have running water? Because I knew that was something that was privy to the case. He turned the faucet on in the kitchen area for me. Water ran. I asked him about utility, the lights. He said that they were going to come out and turn the lights back on or something like that.
All right, so I'm confused because are you saying the electricity was not working in the home?
It wasn't anything on when I walked through there, no, sir. And I asked him about it. He said they were going to come out and turn it back on.
And what about the water? Did you say there was or was not water?
There was water. He did have running water.
And what about the conditions of the home? Did you have any concerns about, you heard Officer Hammock's testimony about there being broken glass on the floor and the home being in disarray with lots of junk. Did you see any improvement in the conditions of the home since Officer Hammock was out there on August 4th?
Well, there was no broken glass on the floor, but everything else, it seems that it was still exactly how she described because, like I said, it was a pathway that me and him took and we walked directly to the back room of the home that was to the left as she described.
And how many bedrooms are in this particular residence?
I couldn't tell you because it was stuff everywhere. It looked like it's about 2 at least, but it was stuff in there. So the doorways was blocked off to anything else but that one bedroom and the bathroom.
Okay. So where would the children sleep?
If placed back in the home?
No, I'm just saying, did Mr. Thrasher show you like, okay, this is the bedroom, this is where the kids sleep, this is where we sleep?
No, sir. There was only access to one room in the home.
Okay. And did you see any bedding that would have been appropriate for the children?
No, sir. Not for both children. No, sir.
Did you observe there to be any food in the home when you did the walkthrough?
I didn't check the fridge while I was in the house.
Did you observe there to be any kind of evidence of alcohol in the home?
No, sir. I didn't see any alcohol bottles or anything like that.
You saw the photographs that were previously tendered in. Was, in your opinion, it's been approximately, you said you were there on Monday. That's approximately a month after law enforcement was initially called out to the home. Does there appear to have been any efforts made to clean up or make the home in a better condition?
From the photos, not much.
Did Mr. Thrasher provide you with any evidence for him having the right to be staying in that residence, that he had a lease, he had a rental agreement, anything like that?
No, sir. We didn't discuss that.
No other questions for Mr. Moore, Your Honor.
Ms. Brinson?
Did Mr. Thrasher appear to be intoxicated or under the influence when you visited with him on Monday?
No, ma'am.
That's all I have.
Redirect.
No, sir.
Next witness.
No other witnesses from the department.
Ms. Brinson, you have any witnesses?
I'll call my client just for I'll call my client. Just a reminder, you've been sworn in before and you are under oath.
Yes, ma'am.
When was the last time that you saw your children?
Monday.
And how long were you able to spend with them?
I believe the 9 to 11.
Were there any issues with that?
No,
visit?
ma'am. No, ma'am.
Did they seem to be happy to see you?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you happy to see them?
Oh yeah, trust me, I was.
Are you requesting that you be able to continue visiting with your children?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you requesting longer intervals of visits with your children?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to be able to see them for more than 2 hours at a time?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you heard the testimony about a case plan having been offered before. And as of today, are you willing to cooperate with the department in working a case plan?
Yes, ma'am.
If the department requested that you get alcohol counseling or submitted to urine screens or something like that, would you be willing to cooperate?
Yes, ma'am.
In order to try to get your children back?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Anything for my baby.
All right, that's all I have right now.
Ms. Crane, do you have any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Thrasher, where are you employed?
Nowhere.
Okay. What is your source of income?
I get a check.
Okay. Where do you get the check from?
SSI.
Okay. How much do you receive each month?
$824.
Okay. Do you receive any sort of housing assistance?
No, ma'am.
Food stamps?
No, ma'am. I was getting food stamp until they cut me off.
Okay. Are you able to provide housing for yourself and the children?
Yeah, man. I tried to do that, but it didn't work out too good.
Yes, sir. But my question is, are you able right now to provide housing for yourself and the children?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is the housing that you're able to provide right now?
Anywhere.
Okay. Have you put in an application for an apartment?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any other income besides the $824 a month?
No, ma'am.
I believe that's all I have right now.
Ms. Schrock?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Scaronic?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Thrasher, where do you currently live and receive mail?
In the mailbox.
What's the address?
I don't even know.
Well, how would you tell somebody to send you a check if you don't know the address?
It come on my card.
Okay, but I understand you already got that lined up, but how do you get mail?
At the mailbox.
Okay, the mailbox at the post office, a mailbox in front of the house where you live?
At the post office.
Okay, what's your P.O. box number?
I don't know. I don't go to the mailbox.
But then you don't get mail if you don't go there.
Yeah.
We've got mail we're going to need to send you through the course of this case, and we need to know where to send it.
Yeah.
If I may, Your Honor, Mr. Thrasher, are you still able to receive mail at
Yes, ma'am.
Hampton, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
And if the court has, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't hear that.
Who lives at 16?
Me?
Okay. Is that the house that all this happened, where the lights were off and the water wasn't running?
The water is running.
Well, is that where you spent last night?
No, ma'am. No, sir.
Where did you spend last night?
At my friend house.
Who is your friend?
Fabian.
Fabian.
Yeah.
Where does he or she live?
On the other side.
On the other side of what?
Other side of town in Hampton.
Okay, what's the street address?
I don't know.
How did you get there?
Somebody took me over there.
Okay, where are you going to spend tonight?
I might give me a motel room.
Well, $800 and something isn't going to go very far if you're spending it on hotel rooms.
Yeah.
So why are you not going to dinner?
Yeah,
You said you live.
you're right.
Why aren't you going there tonight instead of a motel?
Mm-hmm.
Is that I don't know?
Yes, sir.
All right. You're not able to look after your kids right now, correct?
Sir?
I said you are not able to look after your kids right now, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did I hear that you had a diagnosis of schizophrenia?
Yes, sir.
Do you take medication?
Yes, sir.
What do you take?
I don't even know the name of the pill.
Do you take a pill or an injection?
Regessin and pill.
Okay. Are you taking it like you're supposed to?
Yes, sir.
Where do you get it?
My child trailer. BAC.
You go to Griffin or here in McDonough?
In Griffin.
Okay. How about your, they said you had cirrhosis of the liver. Do you have that condition?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a doctor who's treating you for that?
Yes, sir.
Is it true that you asked the caseworker to take you to the liquor store?
No, sir.
You didn't ask her to take you somewhere to get liquor or alcoholic beverages?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you still drink?
No, sir.
Not at all.
No, sir.
Why not?
I don't know.
Well, surely, Mr. Thrasher, you know that if you have cirrhosis of the liver, you continue to drink, you're going to kill yourself. Doctor,
Yes, I know. I ain't got time to be hurting again.
the doctor hasn't told you what can happen if you keep drinking?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's why you quit drinking. How long have you had, when's the last time you had a drink of alcohol? Beer, wine, liquor?
A month.
Anything?
A month.
A month.
Yes, sir.
That's about the time this case started, isn't it?
Yep.
How many children do you have besides these two children? Any others?
8 kids.
8 kids. Are the
Yes,
others
sir.
older than Bailey and Brenda?
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
51.
Are you married to Stacy
No, sir.
Schooler?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you ever legitimated either either Bailey or Brenda through filing a lawsuit in court to have you declared the legitimate father?
Say it again.
Have you ever filed a lawsuit to legitimate these children?
No, sir.
Were they born in Georgia?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, can I interject there? I do have some information pertinent for the court on that issue.
Go ahead.
I picked up copies of the orders from the Spalding County case involving Brenda. And there is an order of legitimation as to Brenda in that file from September of 2016, I believe. So he has legitimated that child.
Brenda was born in 2016. You sure that wasn't the date of birth and not the date of the legitimate? It could have been sometime after the birth, but okay. Just share that with the counsel for the parties, if you would. Thank you, Mr. Thrasher.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other witnesses, Ms. Brinson?
No, Your Honor.
Any witnesses, Ms. Crane?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Wagner, are the kids doing okay? I mean, Ms. Weaver, I'm sorry. Ms. Weaver, are the kids doing okay in your home?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you for taking care of them. Ms. Rock, you have anything in the way of recommendation or witnesses?
Just a recommendation, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I think the evidence and testimony that's been provided to the court has established that these children are dependent and in need of the court's protection, and that it would be in their best interest that they remain in the custody of the department.
Mr. Thrasher, I had another question, and I thank you, Ms. Rock. Mr. Thrasher, I meant to ask you, is Ms. Gula able to take care of these kids right now?
Sir,
Did you hear me?
what you say?
I asked you, is Ms. Gula able to take care of these kids right now?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Does she have mental health problems?
Yeah, man, she on pill.
Say that again.
She on pill. She taking sleeping medicine.
She takes too much sleep medicine?
No, man, she on sleeping medicine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is she on medicine for any mental health problems?
Yes, sir.
What for what?
She go to Bonneville doctor.
Okay. What do they get her medicine for?
You go to the pharmacy and get it and pick it up.
But what are they treating it? Like you got schizophrenia and you take a pill? What does she take pills for?
Come on. Her bipolar.
Bipolar.
Yeah.
Has she had to be hospitalized? Because
One time she did. One time she did.
Okay. Does she have a place to live?
Yes, sir.
Where? 16?
Yes, sir.
Are y'all still together as a couple?
No, sir.
Are you able to bond her out?
Mm-mm. Oh.
Does she have family that can bond her out of jail?
I was gonna go get her. They told me not to.
Who told you not to?
Her sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're able to post a $5,000 bond?
Yeah.
With what?
Huh?
What would you use to post a $5,000 bond?
Money?
You would have to pay over $500 to a bail bondsman.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have that much? You don't make but $800 a month. How would you have 500 saved up?
Yeah, I got that merch.
You have 500 saved up?
Yeah.
You sure you're not working on the side and making extra money?
Nope.
How much
I
is
don't do that.
How much is the rent?
Huh?
Mr. Thrasher, do you pay rent at 16?
Oh,
How
yeah.
much?
Yeah.
How much is the rent?
$450.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The court finds by clear and convincing evidence that the children are dependent, that it be contrary to their welfare to be returned to either parent, that reasonable efforts were made to avoid removal by looking for relatives and attempting a safety plan. That it's in their best interest that they remain out of the home of either parent for the time being and remain in the temporary custody of the department, pending the formulation of a 30-day reunification or other permanency plan. And I hope the clerk has me the dates. All right, the 30-day case plan, October 3rd at 4 o'clock on Zoom. 75-day judicial review, I'm gonna be out of town and, we've got a date that's 2 days past the time limit that we're supposed to have it. If y'all will waive that, if not, I may have to get another judge to hear it inside the time limits. What's your preference?
No objection to being outside of the time frame, Your Honor.
No objection.
Objection.
No objection.
So that's October the 30th at 10:30? No, yeah. And then the 9-month permanency review, the 30th of April, 2 o'clock on Zoom. We would prepare a proposed order memorializing what I ruled,
I will.
circulate it to council,
I will.
and so, Mr. Thrasher, you want to receive mail at the,
Yes, sir.
okay. But if you're over at the motel, you're not gonna get your mails.
Yes, sir.
You still don't have utilities in the house,
We're gonna get it turned on.
but you don't have them on right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. If you bind Miss Thrasher out, please let us know, so we'll know that we don't need to send papers to the jail. That we-
Yes, sir.
Y'all have it split up, right?
No, sir.
All right. Thank all of y'all for your time. We'll adjourn this hearing.
All right, thank you,
Okay.
Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
The visits will continue until we talk back at the next hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor.